Welcome to the first of hopefully many, but probably not so many game dev streams, live streams of game dev things. Yeah, hi. Good to see you here. Or good to not see you here if you're not in chat. Okay. Right. So, just as a sort of a pre-thingy, this is going to be a series where I just do some work on games. It's not going to be contiguous, so it's not going to be like I stop working once the stream is over and then I continue work from where we stopped. On the next stream, I'll be working on things on my own time between the streams. It's just more of a way of like letting people have some insight into how I work, and also most importantly just getting me to actually do something, because so far these holidays that I'm currently on have not been very productive at all, which is a shame. So we're going to be working on my game project Leaf, which has not seen any work in the past 4 months. And yeah, that was mostly due to university and also mostly due to getting bored of it. So hopefully I can pick up the slack and get back into it. Right, just as a thing, real quick while we're here. So for university, I did make a game called Factory Reset during the last semester, which was a group project, and it was kind of okay, the result. I mean, I have very high standards, but yeah, so we released this. It was not written in Lisp, of course. But yeah, most of the artwork is done by me, and a lot of tech work was also done by me, because I was able to reuse a lot of the things I worked out for Leaf in this game. And yeah, you can have a look-see at that if you want. It's at chimera.hio factory reset. Problem is, as part of the course, we were forced to use the Windows 10 Universal Windows platform so that we can deploy on Xbox One. And this means the game does not work on any system other than Windows 10. And I was not even able to get it published on their dumbass store for bullshit certification reasons that I could not figure out. And their support contracts cost $400 or more, and I'm not going to do that to publish a free game on their dumbass store. So yeah, if you go through the trouble of actually installing it, thank you very much. I hope you don't feel like you wasted your time. If not, that's okay. It's not that great of a game. But yeah, that's just kind of what I did and why I stopped working on my own stuff, because I was just super busy. It's written in C# using monogame. The source is open, so you can have a look. It's at GitHub, Chimera Factory Reset. So all the stuff is there. Yeah, anyway. Check a look if you want. Now on to actual Leaf. So Leaf is, well, it's still in very, very early development. So I published a blog entry about starting this project last year in October. October. And there's not been tremendously much going on. I have some basic stuff done, but a lot of stuff also needs reworking. And right now, we'll be mostly working on reworking things. The game is primarily a platformer, but kind of the unique element of it is that there's a detective mechanic built in, and at some point we'll definitely work on getting that detective mechanic in. But for now, what I need to do is get things up to swing, because some of the choices I made while developing this were pretty dumb, and so I want to revise that. Most importantly, I want to get these two items done here, which is a new format for levels or regions, and a different format for chunks. So the way the game works is, if we launch this here and die a couple of times. So you have an editor here in the game, and basically the world is divided up into several chunks like this, and you can add more of them. And what this does, or what the idea is behind doing this kind of chunking of the world instead of having one contiguous region, is that it allows you to focus your game design on individual challenges. Basically what Celeste did, because Celeste is great. And the way this information is stored for the chunk, so this is currently I'm on the solids layer, then I can switch to here we go. Things are kind of broken right now because I switched some stuff without testing. So you have solids layer that describes the interaction. You have a layer for the tiles that describes what the tiles look like. And you have 3 different layers at the moment, but I want to expand that. So there's a background, a foreground, and a middle layer. And all of this information, the solids and which tiles are used, are stuffed into one single texture for lookup. So what it basically does is, for each pixel on the screen, it calculates where it is in the tile map, looks up what color there is in that tile map, and then it translates that color into a lookup into another texture that actually has the visible tiles, and it uses each channel for one of those. So it's limited to basically 4 layers, and since one needs to be sort of what kind of interaction you have, there's only really 3 layers available. And that's kind of dumb. That's really limiting in some cases. You won't want to have more. And it's also really problematic for ordering of draws. So since you need to draw things in the right order of layering, there's a really gross hack in the current implementation that basically just draws the chunk twice, once with a variable bound that tells it to draw the background and once not. And yeah, that's no bueno. So what I'm going to do instead is split the chunk into several layers, each of which are a texture with 2 channels, red and green, and the red and green color sort of acts as X and Y values indexing into a tile set. And that's, you know, kind of what I want to do. And then, of course, I need to have some way of packaging all that up and stuffing it into a file all at once. And so, as preparation for this stream, wow, I'm prepared for once. I started writing a small specification for this region file format, what it's supposed to look like. And this is sort of just the first draft of it. And I think I'll try to implement this format as a first step, since that seems a bit easier than dealing with the chunk bullshit right now. So let's do that. Now, to give you a bit of... Is the text readable at all? Should have probably asked that before. If not, I can make it a bit bigger. Right. So, according to the specification, such a file is basically a zip file, which has a metadata file, a data payload, and then resource images that are mostly at the moment just either a preview image or the layers of a chunk. So, a bit small but readable. Okay, I can make it a bit bigger. Set from font. I think it's currently on 16. Is that better? Oof, that's huge. Okay. All right. So according to this description, which is very abstract typey kind of thing, what you basically have is in the meta file, which is the most important one at the moment, have a header. The header is a identifier. If I could type region and then version v0, or actually without the quotes since we're not evaluating at all. And then you have information, so things like author, and an optional preview, which we can leave empty. So this is the basic metadata file, which the intention behind this is that the system can open the zip file, just read out the meta file, and then display this information without having to look at everything else. And yeah, so that should give enough information to like display the level in some kind of listing or in a browser or whatever. And another important part is this version here, which is to allow backwards compatibility. The data payload file is going to be versioned so that once this game, if it is ever released, that, you know, things that were made against one particular API can still work with a later one. Yeah. So that's the idea behind that. And then for the actual data payload file, the current v0 format is basically, let me see. Yeah, it's basically name, some kind of symbol, blah, and then entities, which is a list of entity definitions, which can be a player, a chunk, or a... that's no good. I'll just... Yeah, this is not something I'm happy with yet, because I only thought about it for like 20 minutes. Takes a bit longer than that to make a good format. So, right, that's not going to work either. Because currently there is no identifier. Well, fuck the specification right now. We're just gonna do it like this. Player, location, 0, 0. And then that's it. And then we have a... Wait, that's not how that works at all. Not enough parents. Chunk. Yeah, I mean, that's how it goes. Specs written without an implementation is kind of a bad idea anyway, because a lot of things that you only really consider once you start writing an implementation. So, resources is what I call them. Okay, so this is what the data file could look like. It's just kind of the basic idea, I guess. Okay. So one reason why the layers are within the archive itself and why the tileset and the backgrounds are not is because the background and tileset could be shared between multiple levels or regions or whatever you want to call it. So it's better to pool those into a separate thing. At some point, there's going to be a more general kind of format for like extensions and things that can, or mods, I guess you could call it, that will, be able to add assets like this as well, so that they can be added to the game instead of having to, use everything that's built in. Okay, so this is what that could look like. Now, the first problem I have with this design document, not from the design perspective, but from an implementation perspective, is that as far as I know, there's currently no in-memory zip extractor library in Common Lisp. Let me just Google for that real quick. Lisp zip. I think there's like zlzip or something, but that can only do it on files. Zip. Right, and he uses Zaza, which is slow as balls. File entry. Oh, it returns it as a vector. Never mind. Okay. Okay. I guess that could work then. Though having it as a UB8 vector is kind of annoying to convert between that. That's kind of a thing that I I really wish there was in Lisp a way to, say, quote unquote, cast a data type to another one, or at least get the implementation to reinterpret it as something else if it can. So that, for instance, if you have a UB8 vector, it can be interpreted as a UTF-8 encoded string or something like that. Which, by the way, I know having constant time access to strings sounds kind of great, but I honestly don't know if it's that useful a lot of the time. So I'm not sure if it would actually be better for language to encode strings as UTF-8 from the get-go. I know you have to like underrun decode code points and bullshit like that, but yeah, I'm not convinced of either possibility at the moment. Okay, so we can get it into UB8 vector and then have to run it through some crap to get it into string, and then I can read it. Okay. Alright. Fair enough. So how are we going to do this? Currently, there is a map.lisp file which implements an ad hoc binary format for the map. And yeah, I mean, it works, but I'm not sure that having the file data stored in binary is worth it. It's faster to decode, sure, but it's less readable, of course, and yeah, I don't know. I'm reconsidering not doing it in binary because just getting an octet vector from the zip library would make that somewhat easier, or somewhat less gruesome, I guess. somewhat less distasteful, I guess. Speaking of, can PNG load do in-memory PNG loading? Is that a thing? Also, I know 3B has been working on a much faster deflate implementation recently, which is very, very nice, so that we can finally get some PNG loading times that are not abysmal, and hopefully the same for zip as well. Zip files. Okay, so that's a file. Load stream. So I assume it doesn't work on a vector, so I would have to use the gray streams thing, which is slow. This is kind of a problem with game design in general, that oftentimes a nice way of doing things will be tremendous amounts of work, and you either have to, or if you don't want to spend all that work, you have to decide between going fast and gross or nice and slow. Yeah. So, data stream, what is this? I don't know what this is. Yeah, not sure if it would be better to just extract two files in a temporary folder or something. That could be a possibility. Well, in any case, let's start with a new file somewhere. Don't want to call this map. Don't want to call, well, okay, region. Let's call it just that. Man, I wish my birds would shut the fuck up. Let me see if I can do something about that. Looks like it's gonna be stormy outside soon. Just letting down the blinds. Don't mind me for a sec. Okay. There we go. Alright, so... Right, where's the ASD file? Need to depend on zip. Where zlzip is what it's called? Or is it called zip? Zip. It is. Okay. So, let's actually just create a dummy file first, so that we have something to play with. Actually, can I do that with Emacs? I don't even know. I'll do it with Arc real quick. New test.zip. Okay. And then create that meta file. Data file. And add them in there. Okay, that should be good. Load region. Let's just make it generic. Why is this force UTF-8? Don't think I'll need that for now. Okay, let's see. Zip file, get zip file entry. What does that do if there is no such entry? Does it say here? No. Where's the doc strings for this? Oh, there are none. Great. Fantastic. Love me the common Lisp documentation status. Okay, so it just fetches the zip file entries and then does a get hash. So if it doesn't exist, there's nil. Great. All right. Meta.lisp. Okay. See below. Okay. All right. Is there an exported type for that? For the zip file thing? Probably not, right? Yeah, it doesn't seem that way. Let's just see real quick. Open zip file. So it does that. Yeah, it is a struct, but I don't think it's exported. Oh, wait, it is. Okay. So let's get that out there. Well, there we go. Yeah. Now, let's see. I'm trying to think about what kind of representation I want for this. I suppose I'll just forgo parsing the data file unless it's really necessary. So I don't think I'll even fetch this here. Though then again, would really be better if we had two functions. One for just fetching the metadata, and one for actually loading the region into a scene, which, speaking of, needs a scene argument. Yeah, so for the actual loading operation, the only thing we need is the identifier for validation and the version. So, let's see. Right. Let's add a new function. Okay. And that should allow us to do all that crap. Do I have Babel in my things already? Yes, okay. What is the thing? Octets, string, right? Vector, coding, F8. How does the read from string, I think, returns two values, right? Yeah, the position. Okay. What is the position? Index of the first character in the bounded string that was not read. Okay. Yep. Actually, we'll need an EF. Start is I. How do I... Does loop finish? I never remember whether a loop finish actually does what I expect it to. Can be used as term form normally. Final clause. Okay, good. Yeah, that's what I want. Because if I did, usually I just use return, but in this case that would destroy the value of the collect. So loop finish is, for once, the proper thing to use. Hooray for loop finish. So for EF loop finish, otherwise return the data. I guess I'll just... There we go. Okay, so that should give us a list of top-level expressions if it doesn't fail to parse. Great. So now we need to do structure. What did I call this? Header and information, I believe. For what? Loop finish? Yeah, sometimes it's useful. Very seldom, but sometimes it's exactly the thing you need. To be honest, I'm not sure if that loop could be written in a better way. Multiple value return kind of makes it ugly. Could do a multiple value list and then the structure in the for, but yeah. No, thank you. Alright, so that gives us that. And then we need to assert region. And we need a version thing. Did I have a map? I think I had a function that did a version recursion thing. Where is that? Dun, 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 dun. Load map. Yeah. Version name load. Okay, this is what I want, I believe. I'll just why is my paste not working? Please paste. Let's just make a new function. Version. It's a symbol in this case though, so I don't actually need to do that. Okay. Okay. Now that we have the version object, we can pass that on to a different generic function that'll handle the actual parsing of the data payload. Let's see. What did I do? I had a quite neat design for this kind of stuff for the binary reading in the previous format. I was actually quite happy with the idea behind that. Let's see, what was it? Define loader, define saver. Method combination. Okay. Yeah, it all acted on fast IO input buffers. Version dependence. Yeah, essentially what it did was when you wanted to load things, you could call load map with a symbol of the type you wanted to read next, and that would automatically curse it to a stub instance of that type or class, and then it would, you know, dispatch to the correct method as if there were actually an instance of that class already. And that looked quite nifty. Clean like that. So I think I might do a similar kind of deal, but instead of necessarily having a fast IO buffer as the thing, as the first argument, just have an octet vector, I guess, which could be cursed to something else. Yeah, that works. Okay, where is the def generics for that? Okay, let me also get that stuff over here. also need a save region later. Scene target version. And this is a terrible name. What do we want to call this? I don't know. What do we want to call this? I guess maybe decode data or decode region payload or something. And encode region payload maybe. I don't know. Hmm. Decode. At least I got my birds to be quiet for a minute. How long will that last, I wonder? Blech. Okay. That should work like that. Okay. So I think I'm going to do something very similar to what I did in the old system. Which means... is all not important. This is what I want. I hate the skipping around that Emacs does sometimes. Okay. Define saver, define loader, version instance. So do no, not universal time. Type to. How do you actually create zip file entries in this API? This is another ugly thing that often happens where currently my design is sort of dependent on the API in this library. And if I ever find a better one, which I hope I will, I'm gonna have to rejigger things again. Hopefully, though, the abstraction from the macro is going to be good enough to paper over that. Okay, so you just do that. Oh, it needs to be a stream, huh? What? That's annoying. That is really, really annoying, because I mean, I understand why, but not sure how to deal with that. Object buffer version instance. Okay, so, but in this case, I don't know what to do as a guarantee. I guess nothing. So we'll just call it buffer. Without an argument, without a type restriction, since I guess the type is going to be dependent on the version anyway. So that's fine. Though then the version doesn't specify a type restriction. Doesn't matter. It's fine. Okay, LeetCode region payload. Okay, I think that should do it. Compile the row new. Compile the file. What is your problem? Information is defined but never used. You are correct. And we don't care for this. Okay. So hold on for a sec. Yeah, it only accepts path names for whatever reason instead of streams, even though it's going to go to streams internally. Great API. Thanks, guys. Wait, is that really true? Let me just... I don't trust these docs very much. So let's see. Open zip file. Yeah, calls open for whatever reason. I guess with Latin 1 is the reason. What is that? Allegro and SBCL. Great. This is another thing that bothers me a lot about Lisp. Though isn't it more portable to specify a content type on open rather than trying to bind some internal symbol? Because in SBCL that symbol isn't even exported at all. The one to change which encoding to use for files and things like that. So hold on, open. Let's say element type, not important. External format. Standardized value for this is default. Right. So it's not specified, but I would expect most implementations to accept UTF-8 there, or Latin 1 or something like that. Yeah, so I guess this is why they do that. Yeah, not great. What the fuck? Finalize. Okay, so they put finalizers in here as well. That, I guess, is another reason, because it doesn't just slurp the stream, which is nice, but... Whew, and then only on SBCL. Oof. Whew, whew, whew. 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 Yeah, that API is rough. Or that implementation of the library. I suppose someone will have to write a new one anyway based on 3B's deflate once that is released and usable. Okay, anyway. So that's that. Can't decode from stream, too bad. Let's see what else. Define decoder. Let's actually first just really quickly see what happens if I run this stuff. Load region. Test. Code region payload was called with that. Scene and v0. Good. Okay, that's what we expected. Great. So it works so far. Nice. Nice. Now, what do we have in the spec? Wherever that is. There we go. So v0 defines a scene. Name and entities. Key. So scene v0. And the fucking indentation doesn't apply. Why? Oh shit, people are actually on the Twitch chat. Hello, good people from Twitch chat. It's a surprise I'm even seeing that, because I'm usually not watching that. I have a separate page with the chat and stuff. I wish I could learn Lisp, but there are literally 0 tutorials. At least I haven't found one. Which Lisp do you mean? Pages. Hold on, I'll just. It's linked below the stream. Anyway, 0 tutorials. It depends on which Lisp you want to learn. Common Lisp. There's a really good free book called Practical Common Lisp, which is an introduction to Lisp for sort of seasoned programmers. So if you already know a programming language, then I could really recommend that. Just Google Practical Common Lisp, and you'll find that it's online for free. And it's also available in book form, actually, from Apress, I believe. Yeah, very well recommended. It was the book I used to get started with it as well. Yeah, so yeah, but nice to have you here. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, why is the fucking indentation not applying? I don't know. It should. Wait, it's a 4 and a 4. Why? Oh, because I have a... Okay. Never mind, it's correct. I mean, the Lisp cookbook is more, well, a cookbook on, you know, various recipes on how to do various things, rather than, like, a full introductory course to the language. Alrighty. So, scene has a name and a list of entities. So for this, what do we have? What was the name? Parsers. I think that was the thing. Do we get the contents vector? Okay, yes, good. There's also a really good book for people that don't know programming yet, called The Gentle Introduction to Symbolic Computation, or usually abbreviated to GENTLE. That's also available for free and is also pretty good. I've heard a lot of people who couldn't get started with programming before found their start with that. It's great. One warning about Practical Common Lisp is the book is kind of old by now, which doesn't actually detract anything from learning the language. But in I think the first chapter, it mentions a Lisp box project to sort of get you up to speed quick. But that project is dead, and it doesn't work anymore, or most likely won't work on your system. But the good news is there's a replacement for that called Portical, and that's also available for free on all three major platforms. So if you don't wanna set up Emacs and the Lisp implementation on your own, then that will be a recommendation. That's Portical. Yeah, just googling that should give you the necessary link. Okay. Right, so we have the source, and then we need to. Why do I always do a let? Key name is. There we go. Set name scene. Okay. Man, I know I'm doing this for the stream, like not having any music on, but I'm so used to just listening to music all the time. Makes me uneasy not having something going on in the background. But I'd also don't really want to piss off people with my garbage music taste. Arcane in some ways compared to other languages. What do you mean? For me, it's more the opposite. I feel like a lot of other languages are arcane in weird ways. Like a couple of weeks or 2 weeks ago, I started reading through an Erlang book, and it was just a lot of things that seemed unusually contrived. If I want to write a service in Go, I write the service, slap it in systemd, and I'm good to go. I mean, you know, you can also make executables in most implementations. So you can just, in SBCL, that will be sbxt save Lisp and I, and then you get a standalone executable, and you can pass that to systemd, and you're good to go. Or just run your Lisp implementation with an argument to a startup script. I don't know. Doesn't seem very difficult to me, but I guess I'm well used to that kind of stuff. There's other things that are really bothersome about Lisp, don't get me wrong, but I don't think that's necessarily one of them. Okay. So... I think I'll just call... Yeah, so... Decode, this does not work well. I think I'll do it like that instead. So now every actual object that's being decoded, it gets a list of init args as the quote-unquote buffer. Okay. Let's just check real quick that that works as well. Non-range elements. Oh yeah, because it gets a list. Okay. So we only care about, whoops, that's only care about the first one, load region. No function for set of name, right, that's a immutability thing. What did I do here? Scene, wait, why does that work here? What? I'm confused. Do I have... Huh? Hold on. Let me look at that again. Why does that not allow you to... Oh yeah. ASDF has a build operation thing. If you want to actually deploy... if you want to deploy applications portably, sort of, if you have foreign dependencies, there's a library called deploy, literally, which also handles a bunch of stuff related to gathering foreign dependencies and making sure they're closed and reopened properly. So if you need to do that kind of stuff, I can recommend that. And that uses ASDF stuff internally with some extra junk around to handle various annoyances and contrivances. Typically on my servers, though, I just run the SBCL instance with a init script instead of deploying a binary. Though I suppose with the binary, the startup time is a bit faster. Okay, right, so I don't understand why the setup of the name fails. I thought I fixed that to... Oh, fuck you, not that. Setup name. Setup name of a level, window, handler, but not of a scene. Why not? I thought I had a workaround for that. Oh, Lord. Scan trigger. Nope. I guess I'll just set the slot value instead. That should work. No, it doesn't. What? No applicable method error. Oh my god. What? What? I don't understand. Huh? Show. um, I don't understand this error at all, which happens more frequently than you might think. What the fuck? Oh, you got to use it at work. Nice, dude. Nice. Code region payload. Why is it having problem? Oh, it can't print to player. Okay. Okay, yeah. Everything's working fine. That's fine. It's called job security. Yeah, man. I'm still a student, and most of the time the projects are unfortunately heavily restricted to certain languages rather than them just expecting certain results, which is, ugh. I don't think that's great, but oh well. I guess I gotta use Java. And MATLAB. Oh god, MATLAB. Okay. Player. So I think for most things I can just call reinitialize or make instance. So actually I'll call that entity. And that'll actually work because of inheritance. Hurrah! You used to love Java, someone says. I don't hate Java. It's kind of annoying to use it because it's cumbersome. And I don't think I used to love it. It was just for a while, it was the only thing I knew besides PHP. And yeah, I think compared to PHP, Java wins out. Since I got to use, what's it called? C# last semester. C# is actually a vastly superior language to Java. So yeah. One thing that Microsoft did semi-right out of the bajillion things they did completely wrong. There's still a lot of stuff about C# that pisses me off as well, but it's definitely, from a design perspective, a lot better than Java. What kind of projects were they, if you don't mind me asking? Okay, so chunk. Now we get into, where's the spec? Now that we're at the chunk, I'm getting into a sort of a problem because I don't know exactly what I want to do for the chunk layering system. So that's a problem I haven't thought about yet because I didn't have time today. Well, I did have time, but I squandered it like an idiot. So the problem is that, how do I illustrate this? Let's see. Krita. Here we go. Let me doodle dip some things real quick with a mouse, because hell yeah. So, if I have Alright, so we have a bunch of layers, or we have a chunk. A chunk is made out of a bunch of layers. And then, let's actually do that differently. Hold on. Do that colored, because colors are fun. Red, green, and blue. So, right. So now we have, where's the thing? There we go. We have objects. We have these 3 layers from the chunk, which are just basically solid squares that are rendered. But then we also have objects that are detached from the chunk because they might move around, or because they might not be omnipresent, or things like that. So you have things like the player on the green layer in the middle, and then you have like foreground objects maybe on the blue one, and then maybe you have also background objects and things like that. And so currently the way it's done is that all 3 of these layers are together in one chunk entity. So this is not great for obvious reasons, namely that, whoops, oh shit, Comic Sans, hell yeah, dude. Wait, isn't that Comic Sans? I don't even know. Hold on, what is that? Oh, not Switch Deja Vu for some reason. I don't even know what that was. All right, great. Yeah, so the problem with this approach is that because the chunk is one entity in the scene graph, so we have a structure in the game engine called a scene graph that is basically not necessarily a graph, but a tree of things. And so all of these things in there are part of that tree, and the chunk is as well. And now, when you call render, it goes through all of these entities and calls draw on them. And naturally, if you draw the chunk last, then even though the red layer is supposed to be behind, it's going to be drawn atop of everything. And that's no bueno. This happens despite Z ordering, so even if I give the red rectangle like a very large Z value so that it's technically behind things, alpha blending will fuck that up and not make it work correctly, and things will not blend together as they should. So you can't just render things in any order, you actually need to preserve the correct back to front order of rendering. And so the question becomes, how do we represent these chunk layers, since they need to be interleaved with the rest of the objects somehow? And that's a problem I have not tackled quite yet. Trial does have a like a layered container that automatically sets things into a vector based on their specified layer and then draws those layers in order. But again, because the chunk is only one thing, that doesn't really work unless there's a special function that also passes along which layer it's currently on, and then the chunk can decide based on that which layer to actually draw when it's called. Then you just enter the chunk into all layers. But I don't really know if I like that idea. It seems kind of gross from a design perspective, but I also don't really know what else to do. So I'll have to think about that for a while. Probably not gonna be able to think of a solution today during the stream. Unless someone has a genius idea. I don't know. Okay, hold on, let me read chat. Take a bunch of images, do some stuff with them, and then upload to our S3 bucket. I worked in e-commerce and we had bought a site to migrate that site. Okay, alright. Yeah, sounds like a nice enough job for a Lisp. You need to draw batching, then it won't matter until you have 7,000 plus items. Also only draws on the viewport. Anything outside that viewport you ignore. I'm not really talking about performance at all. Right now, I don't really need to worry about batching at all. I'm sure that it'll come to that at some point. As the tilesets are implemented right now, they're even more efficient than batching. They're actually constant time regardless of how big the tile maps are. So that's pretty nice. The only thing that's going to add overhead is all these other entities that might move or otherwise be transient. And I don't think I'm going to have a lot of those, or at least I don't expect to have a lot of those at the moment. So I don't think I need to worry about batching for a while. The problem at the moment is more this ordering business, so that blending is going to be proper. I will do viewport calling though, of course. That's definitely a thing. Because it's real easy to do. Whereas batching is kind of requires a change to how I do things in the engine that I haven't really thought about yet. And it'll require some larger reconsiderations. But yeah, so this is kind of the problem with the current chunk system that I still need to figure out, and I'm not sure. Hopefully I'll figure out a solution tomorrow that I like. If I don't, then I'm just gonna go with the approach that I outlined here. Okay. So, right, this is not actually gonna work as it is, so let me just do this. Vec2. Okay, right, that should be fine. I might have to change this format to allow easier encoding of vectors and things like that, because those are pretty frequent, and having to manually reconstruct them here is a pain in the ass. So I think I might add a reader extension for that to make it a bit easier. I'll have to think about it though. Okay, right. Name, location, size, background, tileset, layers. Name. Tileset. Actually, the assets is another problem. Because so this is the thing that trial does, where assets are defined not just by a symbol but also by a pool, and the pool kind of defines where the assets can be found. And so you need two symbols in order to locate an asset instead of just one. So I think I need to change that to be there, symbol. Where's that gonna work? No, wait, that's not gonna work. Yeah, needs to be on this. Need to revise this spec, especially the ADL language. It's kind of just a thing I cobbled together today in preparation, and it's not great. For obvious reasons. Okay. So that means test needs to be updated. No, not the meta file, data file. So there we go. Size, location. Okay. So I know it ignores the layers right now, but I just want to see if this works. And it does not. Great. What does not? Spawn location. What? Oh, did I not save this? Background required. Thought I had that. Do I not? Oh. Oh, I think it calls make instance somewhere. No asset with name woods. Yes. Okay. We're getting there. Where is that in main? I think it is. So let's quickly change that around so that it's forest background forest. I'm also going to need to redo all the art assets and everything. It's not a type list. Oh right, because for some reason the size is not a vector in this case. I don't remember why. 32 is not real. It needs to be a cons. God damn it, man. Okay, great. Now it works. Hurrah! Flushed through. Having some music wouldn't bother me. Yeah, I know. It, like, depends on what I will play, though. Some people find it really annoying, apparently, so, I don't know. I decided to stop it for now, but if I can't stand it, then for my own sanity, I'm going to start playing music the next few times I do this. We'll see. I'll try to do without it for now, so that people can play their own music that they actually like. Okay. Right, so it's not quite correct yet, because I need to enter into the scene, and then we need to actually return the scene from here, and first version, decode region payload, and now we should get a scene. Yes, good. And if we inspect this, then we get the handlers, and we get the index set with chunk and the player. Great. Okay. Hurrah, loading works. Fantastic. Okay. Good guy. Now we can do stuff for saving while I'm at it, and then I can nuke the map file. Hurrah for progress. Output to zip file. Right. I guess we'll add a there we go. Save region. We don't need that anymore. Okay. Actually, that just reminds me of a bit of a problem, which is that the metadata is not currently represented in the scene at all. So I'm not sure where to get that from. Perhaps the init the keyword arguments. Though then again, I don't know. This is bothersome. So let me quickly check. What was it? Write zip entry. Wait, what? Zip writer. What does it give me here? Up to zip file. Make zip file writer. Is that exported? No, the zip writer type is not exported. Great, thanks guys. Why is that not exported? God damn it. I guess I need another object to hold all the metadata. So maybe a region object that actually does that. But then, I don't know. I'm feeling conflicted about this. Maybe the region should be a subclass of scene. No, that doesn't work. Another thing I'll have to think about. Now let me just ignore that and add a fix me. Fix me. Hurrah for fix me's. Okay. Now, alright, zip entry. And it's just gonna be, does the data have to be an unsigned byte? Wait, what? Read data from the stream. Oh, right. It has to be a stream. Fuck. Not sure where I'm gonna get a stream from real quick. There is no native in-memory kind of streams. Another pain in the ass. Right, zip entry. Path name, stream. Yeah, okay. Does fast.io have in-memory streams? I think it does, right? Fast.io. Lisp. Come on, son. I ain't got all day. Okay. I'm not sure I understand how to use this correctly, since I never had to do in-memory streams before. Or, I remember wanting to do it before, but successfully avoiding it. There's a missing parent here. Oh wait, no, never mind, there isn't. I miscounted. So this is a lost output stream. Where is that stuff? Gray. Lost output stream, first input stream, buffer. Read sequence. I'm not sure if that's actually going to work with zip. Let's see. Read sequence, read sequence, sequence. Wait, hold on. So where does it actually read anything? Data. Write date. Compress. Okay, so it only calls read sequence, which is good enough. That's where it was going to call read byte or something like that, which would not be good. So that's not supported. So, if I understand this correctly, I can just create a fast input stream and pass it a vector. Yes, okay. I think that should work as I expected to. Let's make another wrapper function. Make sex stream. And this should be version Ideally, I would like to have a stream that I can write to, that buffers my crap, and then can take it out again. So, a buffered pipe, basically. I wonder if there's a library out there for that, but I'm not sure how I would Google for it. Common Lisp in-memory stream. Let's see if there's anything for that. But yeah, man, this zip library is a pain in the ass. Right, flexi stream is meh. Circular streams. That's not what I want. Okay. Ugh, man, these websites are so bright. Gonna burn my retinas off someday. Thank God for that extension. Okay. In memory. Memory binary streams. Stream. Yeah, so it doesn't have a buffering stream. Ugh. Could write one myself, but I don't wanna. That's the only reason. Okay, so how do we do this? I guess for V0 I can just pass a character stream around. So data and then we do wait, no, not make sex stream. Fast input stream vector. That's the string. No, string to octets. Yeah, this needs a separate function. I don't even know what to call this. String to octets. Let's call it binary input binary stream from or string binary stream. There we go. String binary stream with output to string stream and code region payload scene stream version. There we go. Okay. Need to normalize the version argument. Don't forgetty about that, spaghetti. Comma not in back quote. You sure are right, sir. How right you are. What? Oh, right, it doesn't accept. Fuck that. Fuck you. Make 6 stream. Okay. There we go. Wait, what? Oh, I always forget that stream is a keyword in that. Always, always, always. Okay, good. So now we got that done. All we need is the equivalent encoder functions. Scene0. How are we gonna do this? Ugh. I could just pass along a list to which things can prepend, push, and then... No, wait, never mind, that doesn't work. I don't fucking know. I guess I'm gonna use the return value, though that's kind of antithetical. Wait, not list star. Yeah, I guess I'm just gonna do it like that. That should work. I guess. Not great. Eh. Yeah, probably. I think tomorrow I'm just gonna completely rewrite the chunk thing from scratch, or almost scratch, because this is some hot garbage that I have right here. That is correct, yes. Great. Actually, let's do that better. Fine encoder. Code. Same for this. Two. Okay. Now we should be able to actually encode things as well if everything works as expected. Which probably will not. Okay, load that. Save region. Out. Version. Yay! File write date is a problem apparently. Okay. File write date. Hey, okay, it did something. Let's check it out. Okay, here's the meta file. Okay, wrong package. Okay. And see, name, entities, player with the location, chunk with the name, location, size, tile set, background, and layers. Great, okay. Seems to work, aside from the package being bad. So let me actually write a quick macro around with standard IO syntax that makes it better for what I like. So that goes in here. With leaf IO syntax. It and what is it? Print case. Don't case. There we go. Where was the other one with standard? There it is. All right. Node region, save region. Okay. Another quick look. Okay, prefixes are gone. Fantastic. Yeah. All right. Exactly what I wanted. Great. So the new format works as far as everything else can support it. So yeah, as I said, tomorrow I'm going to work on rewriting the chunk system to be not garbage, and depending on how well or badly that goes, we'll either be still working on that for tomorrow's stream or start on a new item, which could be this is interesting. So tileset metadata. Currently, tilesets don't have any information in them at all, aside from, the actual color values that go on screen. But if I added a metadata file that describes, in this tile set, this tile is like an upper floor or a left facing floor or a pass-through platform or some kind of spike or something like that, then what we could do is in the editor we could have it automatically figure out how to completely fill in a preset of tiles for solids. So you only draw the solids, like what you want, what kind of shape you want of the terrain, and it'll automatically figure out how to place the tiles as a sort of a first rough pre-pass. And that should significantly reduce the amount of time necessary to create levels, because right now placing all the tiles manually and making sure everything looks right takes so much time. So that would really help with that, and I think that would be a great thing. Other things under to do are switching from a 8x8 tile size to a 16x16. I think that would be much better for what I'm intending on doing. And then some really interesting things like adding lighting effects and shading and things like that. A UI toolkit would be great. That's a huge task though. Some distortion effects could be a fun stream at some point, like just fiddling around with shaders, seeing what kind of effects we can achieve. Specularity reflections would be also another neat effect. So adding mirroring and things like that to certain things, which could give some very interesting effects despite it being 2D. Then for the current text boxes, those are pretty bare bones, so adding like colors and moving letters and what have you would be nice. Doors and keys and new animations of crawling, slopes, lifts, telemetry will be interesting, replays, decorations. Yeah, so these are just a couple of the ideas I've had for things to do. But yeah, we'll just work our way down the list and add more things as they come up. But yeah, I think this is actually a good place to stop for now since I finished this. Let me just actually go in here. Where's the map? Region. Remove the map. Wait, does the map have anything else interesting? String encoding, sprite entities, falling platforms. Some stuff, but nothing really bothersome. So no, okay. Actually delete file map. There we go. Okay. New file format for regions. There we go. And yeah, that's it for tonight. Thanks for everyone that stopped by, and thanks for chatting with me. It was quite a lot of fun, actually. So, hope to see you again. Just as an information again, this is going to be happening for the foreseeable future, so probably this week in the very least. It's going to be every evening, so I'm going to be streaming again tomorrow and the day after that. Always the same time as today, always for the same duration as today. And if you have any suggestions or comments on things I should do or what you would like to see or things I should talk about, please do let me know. I will be very interested and more than happy to incorporate some of the feedback. I think you can reach me pretty much everywhere, so Twitter, IRC, email, all of that stuff. And yeah. Thanks for sticking around, and have a good night. Bye-bye, guys.